So there was a recent article that was posted that I read and heard from Tinpool and from Sargon of Akkad about how somebody needs to, I don't know why I'm still dwelling on some shit that happened in a mass shooting, but something needs to be done. I think we all feel the urgency at some point in some way, and I don't think the subject should be dropped. But somebody had something right. Unfortunately, their dogma got in the way. That's the way I'm going to put it. The Guardian article that Tim and Sargon have already covered, they praised it. They thought it was a good idea. Yeah, you do need to reach out to men. I disagree. I vehemently disagree. They should not be getting anywhere close to any men whatsoever because, well, they are sexist, racist bigots. Plain and simple. And you can tell this with the language that this person used inside their own article, and it's just literally everywhere inside of it. So would you want somebody that's basically going to tell them that you just need to stop being like a white man to get anywhere near people that are sick of fucking hearing it? Just curious. Would you go to a therapist? It would be like that old Geico commercial with Gunny in it, where the person's sitting there saying, well, yellow makes me sad sometimes. And, and Gunny responds with, well, you know what makes me sad? You pansy, and starts yelling at him as if he was a drill sergeant. It was absolutely hilarious. And then he goes, do you want a tissue? And throws the box at him. That is the equivalent of asking for feminists, or anybody that believes in this intersectional bullshit to reach out to young white men. They would pretty much be the same type of therapist. You're manning wrong.
Are you all right, dear?
In fact, the problem is, in psychology in general, these people believe that evolution didn't happen. Evolution did not occur. We are a blank slate, that men are taught to be rapists and born evil. Quite literally. Toxic masculinity, the theory that they pump out in society today, the other bullshit that it is, I've made videos on it. Everybody else has made videos on it. Not everybody hits it right because they don't know the origins. They're basically trying to equivocate all men, all of us, to serial killers and rapists in prison. That's what we are. Toxic masculinity exists because there are bad people in the world. 2% of the entire world population is in jail. 2%, 2 to 4% in the United States alone. But apparently we have the highest jail population ever. 2 to 4%. That's it. This massive epidemic of bad things happening to people, 2 to 4%. Anyways, when I read the article, I cringed because it is feminist cringe. And let me demonstrate why.
That's very interesting. You've done well. You've got the right technique.
After El Paso and Dayton, the left needs to reach out to young men, not condemn them. Keep that in mind as you read through this article. She's saying don't condemn them, but then she goes on to condemn white men. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know why people are praising this fucking article. I can clearly see where her thought processes are. This Iman Amrani is a intersectional feminist activist. She claims to be a journalist. It's clearly not true. Apparently, The Guardian or these people know what journalism is at this point in time.
Oh, if you're really so good, don't stand there. Show me what you can do.
But, Master, my knowledge of Kung Fu is so small.
Huh. That's true enough. Well then, time for us to leave.
A lot of young men seem to be lost and disenfranchised, yeah, I can tell you that much. But only the likes of Jordan Peterson are engaging them. Only the likes of. Clearly, she doesn't like Jordan Peterson. Why? We'll get to that in a little bit. Now, I want to point out that I'm analyzing her language within this whole thing. You can tell what she's thinking and how she means it by the words she uses. It isn't about sympathy or excuses. It's about identifying patterns and breaking them. Practic crucis, El Paso shutting El Paso shooting subject picture after his arrest. Yes, that's his picture. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Horrific acts of violence. Oh, by the way, just to outline something, this guy right here, because he killed Mexican citizens, those that were here illegally, mind you, and some that were dual citizenship, they want to extradite his ass to Mexico as well to charge him for murder there. I hope it happens, because there he might not leave the country alive. Mexican prisons are no fucking joke from what I've heard. Horrific acts of violence take several innocent lives. A frantic live stream details the events. Terrifying mobile footage spreads rapidly online. Yes, it's a fucking panic zoo at this point in time. Then comes the tweets of condemnation from world leaders, followed by an onslaught of outrage split down partisan lines. Yes, and then absolutely fucking nothing happens because you got one side blaming video games and the other side blaming toxic masculinity in men. That's how it works. The way that shootings or suicide bottoms or knife attacks are politicized depends on the backgrounds of perpetrators, and the victims shows how successful these acts are in deepening the division in society. That's their goal. They want shock. They want notoriety. They want fame. They're sick of the shit. This guy in El Paso stated in his manifesto something that was very conveniently left out, that his anger toward minorities predates Trump. In other words, he was demonized before Trump. I'm not painting this douchebag a victim. In fact, he should have never left that Walmart alive, in my opinion. But if it predates Trump, it really can't be Trump's fault, now can it? Keep that in mind as you go along with me in this article. I'm pretty sure you've heard it twice already, if not more. But this should be fun. Okay, where was I? And it is one of the intentions that the perpetrators share, no matter their race or politics. Yep, that is absolutely true. Race and politics. What does race have to do with one's politics, you might ask? I asked too. Why did she bring it up? Well, it'll come up in a minute. Tougher gun laws would certainly help. No, they wouldn't. Both these people obtained their guns legally. So they pass background checks. What do you want? A psychological evaluation followed by 6 months of training on how to operate a firearm? That way they're better trained to kill more people? That sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. But attackers will still use knives, yes. Lorries, or American version, cars. Homemade explosives to kill and maim, and that's what they set out to do, yes. And while President Trump's words have indisputably fanned the flames of hate toward marginalized minority groups, no, they fucking haven't. You guys just don't fucking listen. And since your intersectional feminism automatically paints him as the devil, the straight white male, you immediately think this kind of bullshit. Anybody that's ever listened to his words knows that this is not true.
Don't be a liar.
The anger and resentment he taps into existed long before he came along. Yes, it's been existing for 20 plus years. Mass shootings starting back to Columbine. I remember that mass shooting. I remember where I was during that mass shooting. I about threw up because I was thinking, wow, that could have been me.
And some water.
Thank you.
Surely, oh wait, you know what? It almost was me, because a mass shooting happened in Utah at the trolley station. It's called Trolley Square. It's a mall, strip mall. Guy walked through. I think he was from the Middle East somewhere, and I don't remember where exactly. But he certainly had some issues, and he walked through with a semi-automatic, which, you know, whatever. He had a rifle, and he just started shooting people. He didn't leave alive. The cops gunned him down, and rightly so. There's no justification for these type of people. They shouldn't be apprehended. They should be shot on fucking sight, in my opinion. They want to walk around and shoot people? Fine, get shot. You don't deserve any mercy.
It seems to me that you're the judge here.
Surely the question needs to be asked runs deeper, be it anti-Hispanic, here you go, Anti-Hispanic, anti-Muslim, anti-Western, anti-women, anti-black, anti-Semitism, anti-LGBT. Why are so many young men prone to radicalization in this way? Where is anti-white? Where is anti-male? Neither one of those things seem to have ever crossed her mind that anti-white and anti-male are part of the fucking problem. But these people are radicalized just for hate. Meanwhile, you spew out hate. This is why I think this garbage article is, in fact, just another Guardian garbage article. And I like to call out in the little quotes on the side over here. It's not enough to simply call out the patriarchy, toxic masculinity, or misogyny. She calls this out later in the article. I'll get to it when it's there. I know that these discussions around men and masculinity are just politically charged as discussions around terrorism. No, they're not. Maybe to you, because you demonize men. To everybody else in the world, no, it's really not that hard. Men are not fucking evil. How about you stop saying so? Toxic masculinity does not exist. How about you not say so anymore? It'd be a good idea to drop that shit out of your ideology if you want shit to not get escalated. In fact, can you hear the angst in my own voice over going over this fucking article because I find it offensive? Do you not get this idea? And I'm a sane, rational individual, normally. But when I read shit like this, I find it offensive. So when you're telling me toxic masculinity is a problem, that the patriarchy is an issue, I immediately know that you're both a bigot and a sexist. Isn't that amazing? I don't have to include you in any of my conversations, nor do I have to care about what you say or what you spew out of your fucking mouth at that point. I don't need to trust you, because I already know what you're thinking. You just told me. How hard is that? You think white men are disgusting. You just listed all the ones that aren't white men and told us that they're all anti, which means we're against them for some reason. Newsflash, white men are not against fucking much of anything, except for the only things that we find reprehensible. It's not a collective group. How about you not treat everyone like a collective group? That's another individualized thought that probably never crossed this lady's mind. This is where the issues start in this entire article. I know that discussions around this is partially what led to me take on the Guardian video series on modern masculinity this year. I will be going over those videos in due haste. I have not yet watched a single one, but I'm sure that they'll be a treat. Oops, what did I do there? Lost my spot. Grabbed the wrong window. Jordan Peterson, whose book 12 Rules for Life, an international bestseller, remains a remains a problematic figure due to some of his ideas. Not really. Problematic to you. Some of his ideas are kind of dumb, especially when it comes around religion and how he applies religion as a philosophy rather than a reality. But he crosses the line of reality and starts talking about metaphysical, which doesn't exist.
Nonsense.
He has been accused of having alt-right audience. Yes, by people like you. Alt-right audience. So already we're going into the smear campaign in one paragraph where you introduce Jordan Peterson as your nemesis, as your problematic child, the one that's reaching out to people. Although I was surprised when I went to an event of his in Birmingham to see quite a few men in the audience who described themselves as Corbyn supporters, lefties, and even Marxists. Yes, why do you think that is? These people don't like him. They claim to believe in this other shit. He points out that that's bullshit. In a very rational, calm, and reasoned way. You don't like that. Why don't you like that? Because you don't have an answer for it. This is another reason why I think this article is garbage. You immediately paint him as a bad person and then go, well, I was surprised that these people had even listened to him. Why aren't you? And apparently, you have a video where you're talking about he's filling the void. It's the void that your side created. If that's any indication of what the problem is, I'll clue you into some things that you use in the language that you say down here. Peterson's main tenet is that men and women need purpose and responsibility to find meaning and direction in life. In a Fox News interview, Peterson was asked why young men keep shooting up schools because they're nihilistic and desperate. Yes, they've had the meaning and purpose stripped from their lives, told that they're evil, and said, "Fuck you, we don't care." By educators, by teachers, by parents. If you don't believe me, go on the Twitter and watch all the little threads that I've seen from freaking mommy blogs saying that they have white male children and they're going to teach them about how they're privileged every single day to make sure that they know about that privilege and that they should bow down to the almighty minority and kiss their fucking feet because we're the bad guy by birth. Original sin, if you want to look at it in religious terms. I am born this way, therefore I'm evil. Go fuck yourself. That is exactly the problem. That is what you preach. If you don't like what you preach and it causes people to go crazy, perhaps you should stop preaching it. Just saying, might be a good idea. Some of the original Catholics and other religions learned that blaming everyone and accusing everyone of heresy and executing them, probably a bad optics view. They stopped it. They stopped the witch trials. Why can't you? Huh? Why can't you stop the witch trials? Hunting down white men and blaming them for toxic masculinity. And we'll get to the next witch hunt, that I will call it, in a moment. Men who have grown up in disruptive families and have gone through care and prison systems have been more prone to radicalization. Radicalization to what, you might ask? Radicalization to things that she doesn't agree with. That's what she means. And she discounts the psychological effects of her abuse. That's amazing. How can you miss this? You're causing the problem. Often they have little to no engagement with spirituality, probably true, politics or religion, also probably true, but are drawn to a vision of the caliphate, posturing the isolated interpretations of the Quran to legitimize murders in the name of some higher cause. No, that's just Islamists. And yeah, some of these crazy young men, not white, have done just that in your country. There's the Pulse nightclub shooter that was the same thing. And yeah, he learned that shit from an imam. One of the guys that should be kicked out of this country for fucking ever. But you got a small point here. And it's not isolated interpretations of the Quran. They just read the book. I read through that thing and went, wow, these people want me fucking dead. I'm an atheist. Allah doesn't exist. That'll get me killed. Isn't that amazing? Anyways, or isolated white supremacists imagine a race war that paints them as brave heroes on a great mission. So you're a white supremacist. How do you know this? Do you think that that's what they think? Do you not see how you attack white men on the daily? And then expect them to not believe that they're under attack for being white men? And then not embrace being proud to be white? Hell, social experiment. Somebody went around and put it's okay to be white. Innocuous statement. Doesn't mean much. It's okay. Who cares? That's how everybody took it. Except for black supremacists who decided to say that is racist, take it off the walls, and then berate anybody that dared put that shit up. They deemed it racist to say it's okay. It's not okay to be white is the opposite answer, and that's the message that was sent across the world by everybody. Legislatures, media, your group, everybody else's group, student councils, teachers, politicians. Hell, they brought it up in the Australian Parliament. It's not okay to be white. How and the fuck do you think people are going to react when they hear that? It's not okay. Well, they put up a sign, it's okay to be white. And then they called that racist. So it's not okay to be white? I'm not confused. That's literally what you're saying. And you think that's okay? You think that's somehow magically not gonna turn somebody into violence because they're hearing it for the last 20 fucking years? The internet made it just obvious. You turned the okay sign into white power, for fuck's sake. How delusional do you have to be?
My boy, have a good smell.
These are, of course, horrific extremes, but it's clear that when people feel lost and disillusioned, there's a push to tribalism. No. This isn't tribalism. This is you demonizing men, and then certain men that are sick of it, that don't have the mental fortitude to know that these guys are full of shit and don't want to listen to it anymore, they crack and they go kill people. You create these people. And it's not to find belonging or purpose, it's to lash out. They're lashing out in the worst fucking way. They've had enough. You've created these people. I just did a video on a hypothesis that I have that you guys have created these people.
But you're still not good enough.
And then you quote a Fox interview, and I'll just read the last line because I think it's relevant. The rest of it is just, he's explaining the position. Notoriety is better than being ignored. Because they are ignored. Outcast. Denigrated. Insulted. Constantly. These kids are in their 20s. Teachers, parents, legislators, all telling them it's not okay to be white. Go fuck yourself. White privilege is a problem. Hell, Beto O'Rourke's running for president. He told everybody in his senator run against Cruz that he has white privilege and he must recognize that white privilege and live with it because it got him out of driving away from a drunk driving accident. He was driving drunk. His white privilege saved him. No. Fucking no. You think that kind of stuff is going to fly? You don't notice that the Democrats have lost their goddamn mind? All they talk about is racism?
No! Buddha will be angry! He'll send you to hell for that!
Whatever people feel about Peterson's politics, including you, who've already painted him into an alt-right audience-adjacent troll, mind you, you've already painted him in this picture, and in this light. You didn't give him any favorability, other than to quote that he might have something right here. And he does. And he's not alt-right. The alt-right hate him because he doesn't like them either. You, on the other hand, are fucking clueless. There's undoubtedly something in what he says here. People on the left tend to respond to him tribally, yes, rather than engaging with his ideas, but you don't engage. Since when do you join on stage? Ever? No, you protest, you set fire alarms off, you throw things, you set shit on fire. You react with anger and hate. I thought hate had no place in our society, so why are you acting in hate? Why are you rallying against and abusing people? Hell, I can show you evidence of that right now.
You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You're fucking scum. You are fucking scum. Fucking rape apologist, incest supporting, woman hating, fucking scum.
Is there someone else anyway? Does someone follow me?
Fucking scum. Yeah, just another.
I just want to listen to someone else's opinion. I'm not even on a side here. I just listen to as many people as I can.
You know what though? Why would you pay money to fucking support a fucking rape apologist if you weren't fucking one?
I never heard him say anything that was.
Well, it's fucking scum. Yeah, you should be fucking proud of yourself. These are the fucking men that are going to rape your sisters and the women in your life. You should be fucking ashamed.
How's that for hate? That wasn't too long ago. At an event. Wasn't Jordan Peterson. He wasn't famous at the time, I don't think. But that's the creature that you have created with your toxic masculinity and your white privilege. Bullshit. Anyways, his biggest critics accuse him of being a pseudo-intellectual and dismissing him as an alt-right icon, yet few on the left offer up well-developed ideas on the crisis of masculinity and the role of men. No, that is not true. You're saying that masculine roles are not good ones. The DSM-5, I think it was, or the 5.5 maybe, has determined that toxic masculinity is a real thing and it needs to be treated with therapy. Because I guess we're all rapists now. Yeah, isn't that amazing? We're all rapists because why not? It just happens to be that way. It's a good thing, right? And here's where your call out happens. Certainly there was no one who is speaking to lost and disenfranchised males with anything like his reach. You're right, there isn't. It's not enough to simply call out patriarchy, toxic masculinity, or misogyny. How about you not call out patriarchy, the thing that does not exist? You do not say that everybody has toxic masculinity and you need to combat against it because it doesn't fucking exist. And misogyny, yeah, that shit does exist. And you've created a shit ton of it. That's the great thing about it. I don't see where you mentioned the other piece of this. Where you mentioned, especially in the era of Me Too. I might have skipped it. Let me see here. Yeah, I probably skipped it. Either that or it's been edited out because I don't see it in here. You bring up Me Too. Me Too is a witch hunt. You blame people, famous people, mind you, not just normal people, for rape. That destroys men's lives because everybody assumes guilt before innocence in those cases, including judges. It's a knee-jerk reaction because it's one of the most reprehensible and evil acts a man can do, forcing themselves upon a woman.
Do you think that I could kiss you?
Stop that or I'll get annoyed.
It isn't about sympathy or excuses. It's about identifying patterns, breaking them, and offering solutions. Well, here's a pattern I'd like for you to break. Iman. Stop blaming men. It is okay to be white. Because race does not tell you anything about character. Period. The content of your character has nothing to do with your race. Or is these words lost on you when they were spoken by a person greater than the both of us?
He's a man of justice and righteousness. I admire such a man.
It bewilders my mind. The only way we can do to fix this is to come off partisan political script and question about the complex issues surrounding men. Until we do that, we will be stuck in the same never-ending cycle. Yes?
Do you have any suggestions what we should do?
It's okay to be white. I want every politician to say that.
God damn you. On a die?
The politicians that say that it's not okay to be racist need to be removed. Let's start there. The teachers that spread toxic masculinity as a thing and the patriarchy is destroying everything, meaning that men dominate literally all spaces and they need to check their privilege as white men. And if we compete for our own jobs or even try to excel, that's toxic masculinity. You need to stop, and then you need to promote the voices that are marginalized while you're marginalizing voices. Stop that shit. Diversity and inclusion is not a strength. It's not. I'm not going to include the janitor into a discussion about how to deploy an entire system or framework across the world. The janitor's not going to know a goddamn thing about what I'm doing. Neither is random black man number one. I'm not going to include people because of their skin. I'll include people that are relevant to the solution I'm trying to provide, which has nothing to do with race, has nothing to do with sex. If you can do the job, great. If you can't, I'm excluding you.
You don't have anything to be afraid of if you're doing the right thing.
In conclusion, I did not find this article humorous whatsoever. It made some small points that are actually true. The problem within this article is fairly evident to me. This person believes that toxic masculinity and white male and white privilege and all that other shit is a real thing, discounts that. Those that have pushed against it have met with nothing but hatred. Even the innocuous quote, "It's okay to be white," even this turned into white supremacist symbols just so you can hate on white men and anybody that does it. Seriously? I got AOC on a different clip, and when I read her white supremacy nonsense bullshit that she pulled out of her ass, I got that on a clip. She's doing this. By the way, yeah, for those that are deaf, you know exactly what that means, or if you know sign language. I hope you enjoyed that one. Okay, I'll cut this one at 35 minutes. Why not? Because that article was a pain in the ass, and I had plenty to say about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, whatever. Mostly share, because apparently anytime you talk politics, YouTube decides to say, go fuck yourself. And I'm quite sick of it. They did make a policy change recently. I might do a video. I'm not going to do a video about that. I don't care. They're not going to do anything for me. It doesn't matter. I'm a small-time creator that's been punished by them. I have a copyright strike on my channel for 10 seconds of an audio clip. Covered under fair use, no court order. They're just going to punish me. Who cares? Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Share me. Do that kind of fun stuff. Maybe I can get an audience bigger than 118 people. Till next time.
But you're still not good enough.